Today, we're going to focus on the low tiers, C- through B-.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Fatal Wrath channel. What I'm doing is reacting to Effdash's videos on the definitive tier list. And we're going to go through and see what we agree with and what we disagree with, and just basically doing a react to the 3 videos that he released explaining where each one of the characters goes and why. So let's go ahead and continue with the video and the explanation, and then as we need to react, we'll pause so that you can hear me react clearly to it rather than trying to talk over him. So here we go.
Some of these characters may have specific strength or niche roles, while others may not be optimal for the highest levels of play. Starting with C-, aka the worst tier, the only character unworthy enough for this spot is Shinigami. We playfully had her in the high tier in our original list, but no jokes here. Shinigami is the absolute worst character in the game.
Alright, just taking a fast look here at what we see first sight. I can actually agree with most of this, but you're probably going to see where my disagreement is going to lie. And that is with Nick Shredder. As you know, I use Nick Shredder on my top team, and he's very useful. I probably will be releasing a video on what my top team does and why I select it and everything that it does, that I just will not change it out for anyone or any reason. But if this was me putting this together, I'm sorry, Effdash, but you have my first disagreement. I'm going to be moving Nick Shredder into a different spot than where you placed him. But I respect your decision, and I will say overall, I did actually agree with this tier list about 98% overall. So pretty much what I say and what Effdash says as a combination is pretty much going to be the official tier list that will be going into the Discord. So if you read any other tier lists, it's not going to be as substantial, because this one that Effdash worked on, he actually based off of actual research, and that's why it's going to be the absolute most accurate no matter what anybody else says. Continuing on here.
Should be avoided at all costs. She brings nothing worthwhile to any team and isn't even worth one mutagen. Only slightly above Shinigami is Movie Michelangelo in C, aka awful tier. Movie Mikey is the worst movie character by a wide margin, and his heal is the only thing keeping him from being Shinigami's roommate. In the C+ or bad tier, we have Mutagen Man, Original Donatello, and Vision Quest Michelangelo. Each of these characters has at least one solid ability, but overall were clearly afterthoughts when being designed by the developers. Each had us wondering why they would create these characters this bad on purpose. Makes no sense. Finally, in the B- or niche tier, we have Classic Donatello, Karai, Nick Shredder, Pulverizer, and Razar. As the name suggests, each of these characters can be viable if the desperation is high enough. Classic Donnie does have 2 AoEs, as lackluster as they are. Karai's passive is great enough to keep her from the even lower tiers. Nick Shredder at 3 stars is a fantastic character with an AoE and a heal that sadly falls off pretty hard after. Pulverizer, like Karai, is saved by his passive. Unfortunately, he just receives it way too late. Finally, Razar is the fastest 3-star tank in the game, so he can help you keep your teammates alive. Today we're going to focus on mid-tiers, B.
Alright, so on this one, we're focusing on the B tiers and the A tiers portion of the video, and this kind of goes into his next video that he posted, so we're going to see what characters lie somewhere in the middle of the tier list now and react to it. As far as my impression on what we just saw, like I said, I pretty much agree with it, except for Nick Shredder. And when you guys get my tier list video, you'll see where I place Nick Shredder at. Proceeding on with B and A.
Through A. These tiers represent characters that are strong and or reliable picks. Beginning in the B or decent tier, we have Classic Leonardo, Nick Donatello, Nick Rocksteady, and Space Michelangelo. Classic Leo's guaranteed dispel, along with his swift focus stealing basic, can be helpful, while Nick Donnie's shield is powerful and useful enough to propel him into mid-tier. Nick Rocksteady is a wonderful take, held back by his woeful speed. And Space Mikey is a decent choice for the gauntlet due to his high speed and AoE.
Alright, we're going to just take a fast look at just looking at all of the characters here. And I actually have disagreements with two of them as far as where they're placed. And that is Zek and Pigeon Pete. Now, as we go on in the video here, they'll be mentioned as far as why they're placed where they're placed. But Zek, he originally was D tier in the original tier list that we had a long time ago. Now, so was Rat King, but Rat King has a really good AoE, and that really has boosted him up. He went up into the C tiers first, and then now it looks like he's up in the B tier list, so his abilities have brought him up there quite high. But Zek, he doesn't have an AoE, so I just don't know about putting him up in the B tier section. So he is going to be my disagreement, and when we get to my tier list, you'll see where I've placed him instead, just based off of that he's been in the D tier originally, and now we're bringing him all the way up to B. I just don't know if I can get behind that. As far as the rest of this list, I pretty much agree with. I know at one point Tiger Claw was in C tier, and when we had the voting game, he was actually voted in the top 5, and he was in C tier. So the fact that he got a promotion even above B and got in the A section, that's real good for him. So I can definitely agree with that. My other disagreement, though, is Pigeon Pete, because I feel he's not as good as what the other Mutanimals could be, and I just never could really get behind a lot of the things that he does that couldn't be done better with Nick Mikey. Like, if you have Nick Mikey, why do you need Pigeon Pete? Do you really need two characters doing the same thing? I'm sorry, but Pigeon Pete is my disagreement, and he's gonna go lower on the bar. But for the most part, like I said, this is agreed upon. So kind of where he places 2 or 3 of these characters, and where I place them is not really going to be all that far off on average wise. So this is still the official between me and him. So that's how it is. Let's let more of this video explain the other characters here real quick, and we will react to further statements made by Effdash.
Above them is B+, or fine tier, which includes Bradford, Ice Cream Kitty, Movie Donatello, Rat King, Stockman Fly, Splinter, Zever, and Zek. Many know Bradford for his defense, but he doesn't receive that ability to his 5th star. Before that, he's a fine choice for his attack up team buff. Ice Cream Kitty has one of the best pure heals in the game to go along with her speed up team buff. Movie Donatello is misclassified as a support character when his kit is more geared towards infliction, and he does it well enough. Rat King is the poster child for fine, with a kit involving ability block, damage over time, and stun that still underwhelms. Stockman Fly can make a 2nd or 3rd string healer/inflictor for those tough gauntlet battles. Splinter's countering ability can't quite replace Nick Raphael, but it can be handy. Zek and Zever's infliction abilities can give you a leg up on the competition. A- or good tier consists of Dog Pound, Kirby Bat, Kunoichi April, Metalhead, Movie Casey Jones, Neutralizer, Movie Raphael, Nick Bebop, Original Michelangelo, Space Leonardo, Tiger Claw, and Vision Quest Donatello. This is where things get, well, good. Dog Pound is usually every new player's first tank, and he does a great job at tanking damage with his slow speed. Kirby Bat is a lesser version of Nick April, but is the better of the 3 backup healers. Metalhead is the alternate tank if players don't want Dog Pound, fulfilling the role with gusto. Movie Casey Jones provides Steranko's passive for 100% more turns at the expense of dual AoEs, while Newt can be unlocked early and serves well as a true damage dealer. Movie Raphael actually has dual AoEs to offset his bad passive, and Nick Bebop is a rare, swift, heavy hitter who really packs a punch. Original Mikey's all-around solid kit can serve any team. What Space Leo lacks in damage, he more than makes up for with support abilities. Everyone's favorite kitty cat Tiger Claw inflicts like the cat's meow, and Ghostface Killadani stuns in his outfit, while his kit is built around damage with a ton of built-in synergy, allowing him to buff the team's crit rate, apply speed and defense down, and finish off opponents with his combined passive and final ability. A+ through S+ represent high tier.
Whoa. We just saw that, didn't we, guys? He didn't go over the top portion of the A tier there in his last video. Actually, he forgot to record it, and he ended up putting the characters' reason for where they're placed in a comment on his video for everybody to read. I really tried to convince him to redo and re-upload because I didn't really think it was going to be that much of a process or take that much time, but he decided not to and just put it in a comment. Well, you can at least see in the photo while he's talking where everybody was placed at for that section. And I guess we'll just have to go back and read his comment to see why those people are set there. So because of that, that kind of got a little cut short, but it's probably good time-wise for this reaction video. So now we're going to take a look at the best and hopefully not have too many disagreements with this, but this was the one that he was kind of worried about, and I kind of was as well too. So let's see what happens here with the best of the best. Here we go.
The absolute powerhouses the game changers that define the meta, and that's our focus today. Beginning the A+ or amazing tier, we have Alopex, Bunny Bebop, Bunny Rocksteady, LARP Donatello, LARP Michelangelo, Movie Bebop, Movie Leonardo, Movie Rocksteady, Muckman, Nick April, Nick Casey Jones, Nick Leonardo, Nick Michelangelo, Original Raphael, and Vision Quest Leonardo.
Alright, so just a first look on here. I will have to say there is one I'm going to disagree with here, and that is Nick Leonardo. I mean, for the most part, there's a lot of people that really honestly thought that he was so good he should be in S tier, and he was even one of the winners of the voting game at one point as well too. So because of that, I'm not putting Nick Leonardo right there where he's putting him when I release my tier list. My opinion of my version of the tier list. So you'll have to see where I'm placing him. So that's actually where the fourth character will be discussed with, along with the other three, as far as where I think that they should go. Just personal opinion. It is what it is. But yeah, I think that Nick Leonardo can go in a higher spot than that. And when you watch my tier list video, I'll reveal where I think he can go. Let's continue.
Alopex has insane speed, high attack power, can easily overcome the debuff she receives from her AoE, while her passives feed into her basic, causing her to channel her inner Raphael when her teammates are attacked. Alopex is a worthy addition to any roster, especially those in the endgame looking for a fast AoE for the tournament. Bunny Bop is honestly one of the better healers in the game. His stats and kit are amazing, and any player would do well to have them on their roster. He can make himself immune to negative status effects while packing a near guaranteed stun and a 230% damage increase rocket-propelled attack. Bunny Rock has dual AoEs with 3 possible effects. Can enter a counter state, apply damage over time with his basic, and nuke someone with Bunny Hop. All that makes Bunny Bop and Rock must-haves, despite the horrible grind. LARP Donnie is absolutely worth the effort to farm, what with a basic that nerfs might and phenomenal secondary effects on both his heal, AoE, and shield. LARP Donnie will instantly make any team better, so do what you gotta do to grab him. LARP Mikey's passive grants him plus 40% attack power, which is godly, and gives him the highest attack power in the game, and the most damaging basic in the game. Combine that with dual AoEs and you have a damage machine. Movie Bob can self-buff his own dodge and defense, while nuking the opposition with attack down. Remember to keep the full heals at home so you can take advantage of his attack up passive, and finish with the most electrifying move in all of Legends, the Warthog's Elbow. Movie Leo's passive grants him plus 40% defense, making him the tankiest character in the game, period. His basic calls an ally, he has an AoE, plus his team buff raises attack power and speed. Movie Rock's kit is super solid. His basic increases his attack power, his taunt increases his defense, he can heal himself, and he can cause damage over time with his final ability. Muckman can raise his defense and attack power, while lowering the opponent's attack power, and has an AoE that can rob them of their buffs. Nick April removes it all. Focus meter, buffs, debuffs, and even abilities, all the while sporting one of the better heals in the game. She can fit on any team and works in every mode. she truly is one of the best supports not classified as a support in the game. Nick Casey Jones comes equipped with an easy way to give himself speed up, along with increased defense for the team via his passive, and 3 top-tier debuffs to debilitate the opposition. Nick Leo is, without question, the most well-rounded character in the game. He has an AoE, a self-heal, a team heal, is able to buff his own attack power, and unalive nearly any opponent in the game. All of that, and you start the game with him. Nick Mikey was designed to do 2 things, heal and dodge, and he does both of them exceptionally well. The devs knew that he was basically a cheat code, so they locked him behind the final story mode stage, but he is well worth that grind. Healing with a chance to dispel debuffs while raising the team's dodge and crit rate is very powerful, and why Nick Michelangelo stands as one of the best Nick Turtles. Original Raph's really good at what he does, and what he does is damage. He can also block buffs, gain counterattack, lower accuracy, and has an AoE. OG Raph is the best OG Turtle, hands down. Vision Quest Leo can block the entire enemy team from healing, become nearly untouchable with his passive, lower the enemy's team speed, while providing his team with a busted set of buffs, speed up, and armor. In the S- or Incredible tier, we find LARP Leonardo, Mondo Gecko, Nick Raphael, Pizzaface, Saranko, Super Shredder, and Vision Quest Raphael. LARP Leo can decrease defense, taunt, increase attack, dodge, stun, has an AoE. Dude, this guy's the full package. Mondo Gecko's usefulness is anchored by his dodge raising team passive, and rounded out with an ability block AoE, speed and crit raising team buff, and single target speed down and stunning attacks. We like his vibe. Nick Raph is a gold standard tank in Legends for a reason. Defense up on his basic, a godly plus 80% team-wide attack buff, a taunt that increases his already superior crit rate, and he'll naturally counter everything thrown at him. Dual AoEs and one of the best passives in the game make Pizzaface a must-have for every Legends player. In addition, his basic lowers the opponent's accuracy, while another ability can lower their attack power. Steranko is equipped with 4 abilities to increase his attack power, so he'll deal out tremendous pain to the opponents, be it by his single target attacks or his dual AoEs. On top of all that firepower, he can also cause damage over time to anyone dumb enough left standing. Super Shredder is a beast. He can give himself armor, resist the killing blow, provide the team with heal over time and defense up, while guaranteeing to slow down an opponent. He even takes one for the team by debuffing himself with accuracy down after wrecking the opposing team with his AoE. Vision Quest Raph has guaranteed extra attack and damage over time, dual AoEs, and a basic that can seriously speed him up, even if it does need crit to work. Easier to farm than bunnies with comparable damage output. Prioritize Vision Quest's weekly challenge every time you see it. In the S or Phenomenal tier,
I'm going to stop it right there just for a second. So, these last 4 that are about to be talked about, I was actually quite surprised to hear that Classic Michelangelo is actually the best character in the game. Because for 2 voting games and just a final battle from out of nowhere, Classic Shredder was actually the best that you could have in the game next to Usagi Yojimbo. And that was followed forever. So for Classic Shredder to be placed where he's at, and Classic Mikey Justin and even LARP Raph going above him is just crazy. But when you hear why, you might actually be able to accept this too. Although it did take me a little bit of time to accept those three being as high as they are and even going above Shredder and going above Usagi Yojimbo. But as Effdash said, like with Justin, his final move at 7 out of 7 doesn't have a cooldown, and that just makes him one of the absolute greats out there. I mean, you can just see why it just turns into that and makes him rise above. I haven't really fully decided if I want to move Classic Shredder above from where he's at, but maybe by the time I release my own tier list, I might bump up Classic Shredder just a little bit more, just because I feel that he deserves to be a little bit higher than where he was. Not just based off of his abilities, but everybody liked his buff, passive, whatever it is. That they seem to like that a lot more than what Usagi had to offer. So because of that, I might be moving Classic Shredder a little higher than where he's at. But I think I'm going to go ahead and agree that your top three here is Classic Michelangelo, Justin, and LARP Raph. And let's go ahead and hear why. Here we go.
Are Armagon, Bunnies, Classic Shredder, and Krang. Armagon is one of the easier to farm Update X characters, since he has 2 challenges where you can grab his DNA. He has dual AoEs, armor, attack down, damage over time. The shark is ready for his close-up, and he's more than willing to take a huge bite out of the opponents. Since their introduction, Bunnies has been a sought-after character for their quick speed and dual AoEs. Always considered a glass cannon, their survivability can be extended with their basics dodge up chance. Otherwise, throw caution to the wind and unleash either AoE or the single target attack and watch the enemy life bars melt away. Classic Shredder's kit knocks it out of the Technodrome. Maniacal Laugh is the star of the show, granting 3 crazy buffs for the team, while Sharp Mind makes every cunning character more of a damage-dealing monster. There's a reason Classic Shredder has been named the Discord's best TMNT Legends character twice. He's that damn good. Krang is the hardest and most time-consuming farm in the entire game, but on top of fantastic stats, Krang brings the firepower you'd expect from a heavy hitter with dual AoEs, one with buff block. In addition, his basic has a chance for ability block. His passive returns damage back to the enemy, and his buff gives the team both attack and crit up to ensure the opponents get absolutely obliterated. And finally, in the highest tier, the S Plus are the best characters in TMNT Legends. Classic Michelangelo, Justin, LARP Raphael, and Usagi Yojimbo. Every ability Classic Mikey has somehow feels like cheating. He can make difficult cunning characters a joke with his basic, make other Swifts even better with his passive, make the opponent regret their decision to exist with his speed down AoE, all while making the team hit harder and faster. He's an absolute menace, and we're so glad he's on our side. Listen, we're not going to bury the lead. Justin's here because his defense down AoE doesn't have a cooldown at tier 7. While other characters have kits that we call broken because they're insane, Justin's kit is actually broken with this ability. An AoE that lowers opponent defense every single turn? Yeah, that deserves nothing but one of the top spots on this list. Arguably, LARP Raph is the best character in this game due to his best in-game speed and bonkers focus removing attacks, one of which is an AoE. His basic neuters cunning characters. And once he gets his buff off, enemies better watch out, if they aren't already dead. He is the single best wingman for the tournament, and makes gauntlet battles trivial. Last, but certainly not least, Usagi, aka Murder Rabbit, goes down as having the most broken kit in all of Legends. And it couldn't have happened to a better bunny. Insane stats, insane abilities, including a double basic passive, damage over time, revenge, counter, ability block. No one does it better. No one comes even close.
Alright guys, so that is the reaction to Effdash's video. And I want you to go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and be ready for next week when I release my opinion of the TMNT Legends tier list, and we introduce it in a format of SABCD rather than the pluses and the minuses, to kind of give a little bit more simplified look for those who don't really use the plus and minus system. With all that said, that has been the Fatal Wrath channel here. I want to wish you all a great day, great viewing, and I'm going to let Effdash go ahead and conclude, and that will be the end of the video. Thank you for watching.
Now, I know some of you may have different opinions, and that's fantastic. Tier lists are always a topic of debate, and I'm genuinely excited to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know who you think is ranked too high, too low, and why. We've poured our hearts into this, ninjas, and we want to create a resource that helps you dominate TMNT Legends.